All right, for our discussion of capital budgeting, we are starting on Appendix 15A. So we understand first the present value concepts and the use of the present value tables. Do you see my screen?
Yes
Nakikita ba
po,
yung
sir.
screen?
Yes po.
Okay.
Yes po.
Okay, the first slide gives us the mathematics of interest. It says that $1 received today is worth more than $1 received a year from now because you can put it in the bank today and have more than $1 a year from now. Meaning if you put, let us say for example, although that is very impractical, no, to put $1 in a bank today. But suppose you put $1 in a bank today, naturally it earns interest. Okay, so let us have an example. Assume a bank pays 8% interest on a $100 deposit made today. How much will be the $100 be worth in 1 year? So you imagine yourself putting $100 in a bank. And what's your purpose for putting that $100 in the bank? For you to earn interest. So the formula will be F is equals to P times 1 plus R raised to the N. What's F? F is the future value of your $100. So your F is the balance at the end of the period end. What is P? P is the present value. Okay? P is the $100 that you deposit to the bank today. So P is the amount invested now. R represents the rate of interest per period. This is the rate that is given to you by the bank. And N, the number of periods. So for our illustration, N is represented by 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, or 4 years. So this is the formula. Now, you just remember your business mathematics. Diba? When we compute for our interest, that's interest is equals to PRT. What's P? P, that's the principal. R is the rate. T is your time. Diba? Pag tinatanong ka, ano yung maturity value o kaya yung future value? That's the principal plus the interest. Diba? So parang ito, no? What's the future value? It's the principal plus, let us say, for example, your interest is 8%. Pero computed in another way, di ba pwede, for example, 100, what's 8% of 100? $8, di ba? Okay. So magkano yung future value mo? 100 plus 8. That's 108. Or sabihin natin another way of computing it is following this one. It's 100 times 1.08. That's 100% plus 8%. So 1.08. So ito yun. Kaya naging 1.08 siya. So P times 1.08. You arrive at that number, which is what? Which is 108. Okay? Now, please remember this formula, no? So I want you to remember F as the future value, P as the present value. Because later, in capital budgeting, we'll be dealing with the present value. So we just have to work it out, no, with this formula, putting P there and then F to the right side. All right, so let's go to the next slide. So same example, how much will be the 100 be worth after 1 year? And as we said, it is 108. How did we compute for 108? So 100 multiplied by 1 plus the rate of 0.08 raised to the 1. Okay? Or the simple computation that we had, what's 8% of 100? That's $8. And 100 plus 8, that is 108. All right? Next. What if the 108 was left in the bank for a second year? Now we talk of compound interest. How much would the original 100 be worth at the end of the second year? What do you mean when you compound the interest? That means including the $8 that you earned in the first year, okay, the new balance now is 108, and the $108 now earns interest in the second year. Okay, So, using the same formula, which is F is equals to P times 1 plus R, okay, all numbers will be the same except for N. Because N now becomes what? 2. Because this covers 2 years. All right, so let's see. So if this becomes 2, so 1 plus 0.08 raised to the 2, I suppose that is 16.64, no? Or 116.64. Okay, or 1.16.64. Ayan. So multiplied by 100, so you get 116.64. All right. So the interest that is paid in the second year on the interest earned in the first year is known as the compound interest. So this is now the future value. This is the maturity value. At the end of second year, your $100 that you invested in the bank 2 years ago is now 116.64. So magkano na yung interest that you earned already? It's now 16.64 over a period of 2 years. All right. Okay. Now we compute for the present value. An investment can be viewed in two ways, the future value or the present value. Okay, yung mga naunang slides, we demonstrated how future value is determined. Now, what if we do the reverse? We determine the present value. Like for example, here. If for example, I want to receive 116.64 at the end of 2 years. So how much should I be investing now? So parang nakikita mo na yung 2 years after. I want to receive 116.64. Now, magkano yung i-invest ko sa bank? And you know na kailangan ng invest mo ay 100. Okay? So let's look at a situation where the future value is known and the present value is the unknown. Okay? The formula kanina is F is equals to P times 1 plus R raised to the N. Okay, now we do transposition. So this now becomes P. No, so P is equals to F over 1 plus R raised to the N. Okay, so this present value formula was derived from the previous formula of deriving F or computing for F. So if a bond, this is now the example, if a bond will pay $100 in 2 years, what is the present value of the 100 if an investor can earn a return of 12% on investments? So let us identify again the variables. So F represents the balance at the end of the period. So that is the future value. P, the amount that should be invested now, that's the present value. R still represents the interest and N the number of periods. And we will compute P using this formula. Okay? So magkano kaya yung invest ko para makareceive ako ng 100 after 2 years? Applying the formula, P is equals to 100 over 1 plus 0.12 raised to the 2. Okay, so if you do the calculation, you will arrive at 79.72. So this process is called determining P. That process is called discounting. And we have discounted the 100 to its present value of 79.72. The interest rate used to find the present value is called the discount rate. So meaning if I invest 79.72 today, and the bank tells me you will earn 12% per year, exactly on the second year, my money, 79.72, turns into 100. Okay? So let us verify if what I said is true. So let's verify that if we put 79.72 in the bank today with a 12% interest, of course that is impossible because banks don't give 12% interest, that it would grow to 100 at the end of 2 years. Okay, so your beginning balance is 79.72. Okay, what's 12% of 79.72? In the first year, your money earns 12% of 79.72. So that's 9.57. So 79.72 plus 9.57, this is now 89.29. Okay? Now, this 89.29 consisting of principal and interest now earns interest for the second year. And what is 12% of 89.29? That's 10.71. So principal, the new principal, plus the interest, now you get 100. So we say that if 79.72 is put in the bank today and earns 12%, it will be, what value will it have? It will be worth $100 in 2 years. Okay? So 100 times 0.797 is equals to 79.70, which is the present value. Okay, now this one gives us the computed present value factors. No? So let us say, for example, if your discount rate is 10%, in 1 year, this will be the present value factor. This is 0.909. In 2 years, this is 0.826, 0.751, 0.683, and 0.621. If you look at the present value table, no? So ito yung makukuha mo. No, these are the numbers. And you know how they were derived? Like for example, let us compute for 0.909. How do you compute for 0.909? Let us say, for example, in 1 year, di ba remember, you have 1 over, ano yung magiging denominator niya? Okay, 1 times 1.10. So, 1 divided by 1.10, will you get 0.909? Let's do the Excel later, no? Okay. Pero when I was taking the board, we were using a calculator. We just press divide, and then equals. Parang ganun ginagawa namin, 1.10 divide equals, you get 0.909. Okay? Now, your discount rate may be different. It could be 12%, it could be 14%. All right? So let's see if we get these numbers, 0.893, 0.797. I'll see if I can share my Excel file. Okay, do you see my Excel file? Guys, do you see my Excel file?
Yes po, sir.
Yes po.
Okay. So ito yung formula kanina, di ba? What's the formula for P? P is equals to F over 1 plus R raised to the N. Okay? Let us work at 10%. So if your discount rate is 10%, this is the formula. Di ba ito yung F? We started with F. F is equals to P times 1 plus R raised to the N. Okay, and then transposing or transferring F to the right and P to the left, the formula now becomes P is equals to F over 1 plus R raised to the N. Okay, so in year 1, what's the present value factor, no, of 10%, no, in 1 year? It will be 0.909. How computed? 1 over, following this, 1 plus 0.10 raised to the 1. So that's 1 over 1.10. You get 0.909. Okay, let's go to year 2. What's the present value factor, no, of 1, okay, at 10% for 2 years? So your denominator now becomes 1 plus 0.10 raised to 2. All right, so 1.10 times 1.10, that is 1.21. And 1 divided by 1.21, you get 0.826. Okay, next, what about if you have 3 periods? So this is 1.10 raised to the 3 or raised to 3. So that's 1.10 times 1.10 times 1.10, and you will have 1.331. So 1 divided by 1.331, The present value factor of 10 in 3 periods is 0.751, and so on and so forth. So you get your 0.683, you get your 0.621. All right? Now, before we leave this, let's say, for example, I want to know the cumulative, no, present value factors in 2 years, no, which we call the annuity. Let's say, for example, I want to find out the sum of these two. So 0.909 plus 0.826 is 1.736. Later on, we'll find out what's the use of this. Like, for example, if you have equal installments, no, instead of multiplying each number with each present value factor, why not just get the total or the sum of these two numbers? So let's say, for example, I want to know the sum of these three. So the answer is 2.487. So I want to know the sum of these four. So the answer is 3.17, and so on and so forth. This now becomes 3.791. Okay, so this is the one for 10%. So these are the numbers that you see, no, in the table. All right. Normally, if you have a management accounting book, the table is presented in the appendix section. Okay. So what if I have 12%? Now, if I have 12%, so the formula is 1 over 1 plus 0.12 raised to 1. So this is 1.12. So this is 0.893, 0.797. You remember the numbers kanina? Let's see 0.893 and 0.797. If they're the ones in the slide. Ayan. So ito yon, di ba? So these are the numbers that we computed. What formula did we use? P is equals to F over 1 plus R raised to N. So we proceed. I hope that is clear, the computation. For the non-accountants, I'll upload also the Excel file. So let's have a quick check. How much would you have to put in the bank today to have 100 at the end of 5 years if the interest rate is 10%? So what is the question? Are you looking for the future value or you're looking for the present value? Answer.
Present value po.
Present value. Kasi tinatanong mo, magkano daw ang i-invest ko today so that, no, okay, I will receive 100 at the end of 5 years. Tapos 10% ang inahanap niya. Okay? So, anong gagamitin kong table? Here, 10% eh. So, ito siya, di ba? So, ano yung factor na gagamitin ko? It is 0.621. Okay, let's find out. Okay. So, you just say 100 multiplied by 0.621, that is 62.10. So I will invest now 62.10. At the end of 5 years, if the bank promises to give me 10%, so this becomes 100. Of course, this is not considering the tax, no? You know, in the Philippines, there is 20% final tax, no, on interest, right? So if you're considering the tax rate of 20%, so that could be a factor that you could consider. No? So, pwede mo siyang ibawas doon sa interest that is being promised by the bank. Alright? So, let us have the next slide. An investment that involves a series of identical cash flows, as I mentioned, no, equal installments. So, I say identical cash flows at the end of each year is called an annuity. Let's say, for example, you pay or you receive 100 at the end of 1 year, 100 at the end of 2 years, 100 at the end of 3 years, and so on and so forth. Okay, so this is called an annuity. Let us have an example. Lacey Corporation purchased a tract of land on which a 60,000 payment will be due each year for the next 5 years. So magkano lahat ang babayaran niya? 60,000 times 5, that is 300,000. Now, what is the present value of this stream of cash payments when the discount rate is 12%? So let's set the computation. Okay. Now, we can multiply each number, no, by the corresponding present value factor. Okay, so you can do, how much is the installment? 60,000. So you can do 60,000 times 0.909, 60,000 times, what's the next PV factor? Then the other PV factor. Okay, pwede mong isa-isahin, or to do the shortcut, why don't you just get the total of those 5 present value factors? No, and the total is 3.791 if you're using a discount rate of 10%, or 3.605 if you're using a discount rate of 12%. So ano ba yung ginagamit natin? It's 12%. So anong gagawin mo? You will use 3.605. No? So the present value is 60,000 times 3.605, which is 216,300. Okay, now I want to bring you back to the Excel file. Now, how I got this 3.605. Okay, how I got 3.605. Let's go to the 12% columns. Okay, you know that the present value in 1 year is 0.893. Second year, 0.797, 0.712, and 0.636. On the fifth year, it is 0.567. So if I add this 5, I get 3.605. So you know where I got 3.605. And here, I am using 3. Sorry. Here. Oh, here, 3.605. So the present value of an annuity of 1 at 12% for 5 years is 3.605. So it appears na ang ibabayad mo lahat-lahat for 5 years. Like for example, you're paying a condominium unit, or may binili kang lot, no, from the subdivision companies or real estate companies. Let's say, for example, you're paying 60,000 per month for 5 years. So you paid all in all 300,000. Pero hindi lahat yung 300,000 principal yon. No? Kasi ang value lang talaga nun is 216,300. So the difference between 300,000 and 216,300, that's actually just your interest. Okay? So let us have another quick check. If the interest rate is 14%, how much would you have to put in the bank today so as to be able to withdraw 100 at the end of each of the next 5 years? What are we looking? We're looking at the present value or future value. We're looking at what? The present value. Okay. Now, ang hinahanap ng problem, gusto ko maka-withdraw ako ng 100 at the end of each year. So magkano dapat i-deposit ko sa bank? So what is the present value? How much will I invest today to the bank if I want to be able to withdraw $100 at the end of each year for the next 5 years? So if it is 14%, what's the annuity factor? Here, it's 3.433. Okay, how did I get 3.433? Pag bumalik tayo sa Excel file kanina, yung under 14% column, i-add ko yung lahat, no? The present value factors from period 1 to period 5. And I should arrive at 3.433. Right? So here, so it's $100 multiplied by 3.433. So you just need to deposit 3.30 now in the bank today, and you'll be able to withdraw all in all $500, assuming your money is earning 14%. Okay, so that ends the discussion on